We're going to be making the screwdriver. You'll need to find a piece of 1/4 inch tool steel, a ruler, and a marker. You want to mark off a piece of tool steel at 6.5 inches. If your tool steel is already 6.5 inches long, you can disregard this step. Place the tool steel in a machinist vise, clamp it tight. You'll find a hacksaw in the tool cupboard. Place the blade on the mark that you've made. I use my thumb as kind of a guide to get it started. And you want to cut on forward stroke only. When you're done, it'll just kind of bend and break right off. Drop forging. We're going to drop forge the end of the screwdriver blade to give it its shape. But first we must put a forging stop on the blade. You need to clamp it right in the middle of that 6.5 inch piece. If you have it centered correctly, there'll be 3 inches of tool steel on either side of the forging stop. When you have that 3 inches on either side, you're ready to tighten up that lock bolt. Use a 7/16 inch box wrench and tighten that up nice and snug. And we're ready to go to our forging station, which is at the oven. We'll be placing the tool steel in a parallel H clamp so we can hold it in place while we're heating and forging the metal. Safety equipment for this operation are a pair of gloves, hearing protection, and we'll also be wearing a pair of dark green glasses because the oxyacetylene flame is quite bright. We're going to light the torch now. There's the acetylene, it's just a flammable gas. To that we add oxygen, which makes it a very hot flame. We're going to heat up about the last 2 inches of tool steel so that it becomes cherry red hot, and then with it that hot, then we can easily form the end of this tool steel into the screwdriver blade. You just want to work the torch back and forth nice and slow. You don't want the tip of the little blue flame to touch the steel. You'll notice the steel is going to start to glow red hot. I'll be there with you to help you. And then what we do is when the steel is hot enough, we turn off the torch. You'll take the parallel H clamp down to the forging station. You drop it down into the little notch that's there, and you'll slide it all the way in, and I will lift up on the handle. You want to make sure that the forging stop rests right up against that stop at the bottom of the forge. Here's a video of me drop forging. You hang on tight to that and I will forge that. Okay, and here's what the end result will look like. That's a forming process. Return to your workstation. Again, box wrench, loosen that lock bolt and slide the forging stop off. Now we need to bend the end of the screwdriver so that the blade doesn't turn while it's cast inside the handle. With about 1 inch of material sticking out of the vise, we just want to pound it and give it just a little bit of a bend. We're going to be grinding the screwdriver blade to shape. You'll need your screwdriver blade, a little template we lay over the top, and a marker. You're going to trace around the edge of this template on 3 sides. And with your marker just kind of touch it up a little bit. You want to have a nice square end. Got a little bit of glare there, it's kind of hard to see. And you can just color the rest of the metal that didn't get marked, kind of fill that in. Just like that. That'll show you what to remove. We'll work our way over to the grinding station. Make sure you wear a face shield when using the grinder. Also, a pair of gloves is a good idea. The back of the face shield can be adjusted by turning the knob so it fits your head comfortably. The grinding wheel has two wheels on it. The one on the left is the rough wheel. Let's start with the rough wheel first. Now you notice my black marker turned into a purple paint. It's just a couple different video segments. So what you want to do is you just want to grind until that marker is gone. That'll give you a nice looking screwdriver blade. You can grind on the side of the wheels. Always make sure you lay the metal on the tool rest. It's that flat platform that we set our steel on. Dip the screwdriver blade in water to cool it. You don't want to grind it all at once. Make several different passes and work the metal down until you have eliminated the marker or the paint. Again, this is just rough grinding. To get the basic shape. The grinder does produce sparks, but they're kind of like a sparkler on the 4th of July. They really don't hurt, but a pair of gloves is a good idea. Now you can grind the face of the screwdriver blade on the side of the wheel as well. Kind of taper that down, smooth that off. After you've done your rough grinding, we're ready to go to the right hand wheel. I'm just going to move the safety shield out of the way just for this demonstration. You should always leave those guards in place. And I'm just going to, again, go over the grinding that I did with the rough wheel just to smooth it up a little bit. It has a much finer appearance. When you're done grinding, there's a number 10 screw in the corner of that cabinet. Just place it in there to make sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, grind a little more off. We'll now need to harden the tool steel so it lasts a long time. Back at the oven you'll find a green box with a bottle in it. It's called Templac. It's a heat indicating liquid. There's a little brush applicator inside the jar, and we want to brush just a little coat on one side of the screwdriver blade, and we're going to let that dry. What that powder does for us, it lets us know when the metal is at 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature at which we can harden the steel by dropping it in water. That's called quenching, to quench the metal. Again, you want glasses, you'll want gloves. I'll light the torch for you. You're going to hold the screwdriver blade while we heat it up. As it's heating, it's kind of changed color a little bit. Okay, and the end kind of gets kind of a dull reddish glow to it. We turn it over. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but that powder now is kind of wet and sweaty. At this point we drop the metal into the water. This is a water quench. Some metals are quenched better by dropping them in oil, but we have water quench steel here. After we've hardened the steel, it's still pretty brittle. So what we want to do now is put it in the oven at 475 degrees to allow it to relax or temper. After 15 minutes, you're ready to take that out and just set it on the top of the oven because it is going to be warm. To smooth the metal, we're going to use our glass bead blasting cabinet. Find the cabinet, open the door. The light should be on inside. Set your tool steel inside the cabinet. Shut the lid. Make sure the exhaust system is running. And to turn the cabinet on, you just move that valve in that direction and back to turn it off. Reach one hand inside, you'll find a glove. and pick up your tool steel. There'll be a stream of air and sand coming out of that tube. Hold your tool steel underneath the tube and it will slowly sand away the scale, and it'll shine up the metal real nice. When you're done, you'll see the metal is nice and